Hello, this is Mrs. Shuver, and we worked with this paper in class today. We're hoping to get more done, but sadly, because many people had not completed Friday and Monday's homework, we were unable to finish this. So if we look forward, or look at what we've done, I believe most classes were able to finish number one. Number two, there's something very important. I want you to notice we're having to take the signs in front of the term with it, because those signs indicate what kind of integer or coefficient we have. For instance, plus 10 means it's a positive 10, and minus 8 means that's a negative 8. And since we're combining terms, which means we're adding them together, we just add, we're going to be always using addition. So I just need you to know that that's going to come as a negative. That's going to become as a positive. So this was the final end. The reason this is positive 2 is because when I have different signs, I subtract, which would give me 2, and there's more positive value, or this one would be furthest from 0. So now let's look at number 3 together. Okay, if you recall, the first step is to say what the original is. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So we're going to call that a polynomial. If it's more than 3 terms, we just call it a polynomial. Next, second step is to circle like terms. So I'm going to circle 7x, and I see another term that has x, but I want to put a coefficient of 1, and I want to take that plus sign. So far I have 7x, and I have positive 1x. Then I'm going to move on to the y's. I have minus 2y and plus 6y. So that minus 2y is going to come down as negative 2y, and that plus 6y I'm going to put as positive 6y. So we've kind of taken care of step 2 and 3 all together. Next, step 4 is to go ahead and combine the terms. So, excuse me, that should be 7 plus 1, positive 7, positive 1. So I have 8x. And then looking at the coefficients of the y variable, I have negative 2. And remember, we're combining, so we're adding. And it's a positive 6. When they're different signs, we subtract. That's going to leave 4. And I have more positive value. Now, since you have a calculator, use it. That's awesome. This was a positive 4, so that's why I wrote the plus sign. And you can see there's 2 terms in the original. So we're going to call that a binomial. I'm going to come back for you. Continuing with number 4, this time I noticed that we don't have any other alphabet letters other than N, and by the way, those alphabet letters are known as variables, but we just have N. However, this one is raised to the second power, and these two aren't. So this one is going to stand alone. So we're going to circle it. It's going to be all by itself. There's not another term like that. Then I see negative 8n or minus 8n. We want it to come down as a negative. I see positive or plus 5n. We're going to list that as positive 5n. And then I see 7, a constant all by itself. So as it turns out, 2n is going to stay, 2n squared is going to stay 2n squared. But I can combine these terms, negative 8 plus 5. That's going to become negative 3n. And then 7. So now here's how we're going to put this together. We have 2n squared. That negative 3n I'm going to write as a minus 3n. That's a high school way to write it. We'll talk about another way in a minute. This positive 7, I'm going to write that as plus 7. Now there's another way to write this, and if you decided you wanted to add negative 3, that's okay. The high school way to write it, however, would be to just have the minus 3n. And I didn't identify what the original was. We can look back, and it's a polynomial. And we were able to simplify it into a trinomial. So this one, we were only able to combine these 2 terms. So finally, let's look at the last one. So we're going to start out, we're going to identify how many terms we think this is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that makes this a polynomial. Anything more than 3 is a polynomial. Actually, the whole group is called polynomials, but we don't list a special name. Now we're going to start looking for our like terms. I see a highest power here, and oh, way at the very end, there's another a to the second power. So we have negative 5a to the second power, and that minus 3 is going to function as negative 3a to the second power. Remember, we're going to ultimately add those coefficients. Then we're going to go on to the a terms. I see plus 7a, so we're going to drop that down as positive 7a, and minus 2a. We're going to drop that down as negative 2a. So we are finished with the a terms, and then we have this constant, this 6 is just positive 6 by itself. So now we get to the combining part. We have a negative 5 and a negative 3. You can use your calculator or your rules, which say if they're same sign integers, we add them and keep the sign. So this is negative 8, and that a squared comes down as is. Here we have a negative 7, and we're combining, so that means we're going to add, and what we're combining is negative 2. So there's our coefficients. So that would become, because they're different signs, we're subtracting, and we have 5a. It's positive. Because it's positive, I'm going to write this as a plus sign. If this would have been negative 5a, I would have written it as a minus sign. And this 6 is the only thing here. It's positive, so I'm going to write it as plus 6. So we transformed a polynomial into a trinomial. So I hope you feel successful at this lesson. We'll have a discussion about it next time we're together. Would you please take the exit ticket now?